It's so ridiculous. How could this be happening in America? How could we be a nation where they've socialized the wealth, given it to the lazy morons, so the lazy morons will be the enforcers for the big government and the private banks. And then even if you want to work hard, there's no jobs left now, so you have to go on the government dole. Mission accomplished, a domesticated population of idiots. I said I'm going to your calls. I'm mourning for this country. I've got to watch Al Gore, who single-handedly rammed through NAFTA and GATT, that has annihilated our standard of living and our industrial base. And they're talking about expanding NAFTA and GATT into the North American Union right now. And I can't even get the yuppies who are losing all their jobs to NAFTA and GATT to even read the SPP agreements, because that doesn't exist. I can't even get them to save themselves. They want to lose. They want to be conned. They want to be enslaved. Okay. Again, we have a new phone system in here today, and I'm unable to get to callers on the black screen. So let's go to Dave in Michigan. Dave, you're on the air. Welcome. Come on down, Dave. You're on the air. I ought to know when to quit.
Alex, how you doing, man? I know I'm not going to ask you how you're doing. I just got to tell you, you're doing a great job. I love everything you do. I appreciate what you do, and I got to give kudos to my brother Gordy in Austin. He's been feeding me New World Order shit. Oh, I'm sorry.
I appreciate your call. I got to let you go. No, let him go. Let him go. Okay. Unbelievable. Okay. Working on some new equipment in here today. You know what? I'm just going to cover news here at the end of the show, because there's a bunch of news I've gotten to and I'm almost out of time, and there's a lot of other news I haven't covered, and I may take a few here at the end of the show, but there's some news and information that I need to go over here. I thought I would just recap this for everyone. Pelosi, buy a $15,000 policy or go to jail. This was written on Friday afternoon, put up by the Ways and Means Committee. Ranking member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Dave Camp, released a letter from the non-partisan Joint Committee on Taxation confirming that the failure to comply with the individual mandate to buy health insurance contained in the Pelosi health care bill, H.R. 3962, as amended, could land people in jail. The JCT letter makes clear that Americans who do not maintain acceptable health insurance coverage and who choose not to pay the bills, new individual mandate tax, generate 2.5 of the income, are subject to numerous civil and criminal penalties, including criminal fines of up to $250,000 and imprisonment of up to 5 years. In response to the JCT letter, Camp says, this is the ultimate example of the Democrats' command and control system of governing. By what we tell you or go to jail. Again, in response to the JCT letter, Camp said, this is the ultimate example of the Democrats' command and control style of governing. Buy what we tell you to or go to jail. It is outrageous and it should be stopped immediately. Key excerpts from the JCT letter appeared below. H.R. 3962 provides that an individual or husband and wife in the case of a joint return who does not at any time during the taxable year maintain acceptable health insurance coverage for himself or of each of his or hers qualifying children is subject to an additional tax. If the government determines that the taxpayer's unpaid tax liability results from willful behavior, the following penalties could apply. Page 2, criminal penalties. This is from the bill. Prosecution is authorized under the code for a variety of offenses depending on the level of the noncompliance. The following penalties could apply to the individual. Section 7203 misdemeanor, willful failure to pay, is punishable by a fine of up to $25,000 and or imprisonment of up to 1 year. Section 7201 felony willful evasion is punishable by fine of up to $250,000 and or imprisonment of up to 5 years. When confronted with the same issue during this consideration of similar individual mandated tax, the Senate Finance Committee worked on the bipartisan basis to include language in the bill that shielded Americans from civil liberties and criminal penalties. However, Pelosi stripped that out, and now it includes a $250,000 fine and 5 years in jail. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. It does have the rationing boards, just like Europe, England, and Canada do. It has it all. And, there's a whole other question here. If you make a blue-collar or lower middle-class wage, they only take 2.5% out of your check, and then make you go out and pay for insurance. But they just take money for the uninsurable. So a new tax on top of Social Security and federal withholding and all the other taxes and state taxes and property taxes and school taxes and all these taxes and the carbon taxes they've passed in the House, now going to the Senate. It's out of the Senate committee, could pass any day. We have all of this going on. We have all of this happening. We have all of this developing. And on top of it, they'll put you in jail if you don't do it. This is government forcing you to do what they say. This is government, as soon as it gets control of health care, and as soon as they have control of taking money out of your paycheck, which all these companies do, now they can do whatever they want. Social control. Oh, you got bad credit, you can't fly. Oh, government doesn't like you, you can't buy a gun now. We don't have to convict you. We don't have to prove you've done something wrong. We're just going to say you can't fly or you can't have a job because the government says you're not in good standing with them. No judge, no jury. This is the essence of the new tyranny we're under. In fact, do we have that Obama clip that I mentioned earlier? There's clip after clip where he says we're going to run the oil companies. Well, he works for the oil companies, but the oil companies through him are going to run the coal companies out of business. Because I want to point out the oil companies have financed the global carbon tax legislation. And even Dennis Kucinich admitted last week, the biggest liberal in Congress, that the health care bill was a bailout for the insurance companies. They wrote it. So here is President Obama being asked about the greenhouse gas tax to run the coal companies out of business. All that's coming out of the top of a coal stack under federal law, they have sensors on them wired to the federal government. They have scrubbers. All that comes out is water vapor. But the media always goes out and aims their cameras at stacks in the winter because then the hot air coming out looks like smoke. I know, but most Americans are actually smart and awake and don't want this, but we can't stop them because they own both parties. And when you put Republicans in a year, in the off-year elections, it won't matter. They'll continue until you really get angry and say no more of your New World Order. Here's Obama being asked about, this woman's like, oh, the science shows, she states that lie, that carbon dioxide's deadly. Yes, carbon dioxide's deadly poison, man. You're right. We're going to shut down the evil coal plants that give us 51% of our power. Oh, wonderful. That'll bankrupt any family that wasn't already bankrupt. Oh, goody, because I'm a reckless, control freak, liberal vandal. Because I'm a hateful, degenerate chicken neck wearing patchouli. Listen to it.
But this notion of no coal, I think, is an illusion. Because the fact of the matter is that right now we are getting a lot of our energy from coal, and China is building a coal-powered plant once a week. A cap-and-trade system in place that is as aggressive, if not more aggressive, than anybody else's out there. I was the first to call for 100% auction on the cap-and-trade system, which means that every unit of carbon or greenhouse gas that was emitted would be charged to the polluter.
You hear that?
So if somebody wants to build a coal-powered plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted.
Okay. Think of the ultimate level of this scam. The average human puts off 5.5 pounds of carbon dioxide a day. Plants breathe it. And they've now listed it as a toxic waste. This is a tax on you. Carbon dioxide is good. Polar bears can swim. The Arctic isn't melting. But they show you a satellite shot of the Arctic in the summer. Yes, it gets smaller in the summer. They just talk to you like you're morons, folks, and you buy it. And so these criminals go, well, why not?